make your UN career success only the beginning. Replicate your UN career success elsewhere. This is a topic that I'd like to talk about today. And the reason why I have heard a lot of humanitarians lately who come to me who tell me that they don't think that they can replicate their career success that they had before. I don't think that it's possible anymore. They don't think that they can do and replicate anymore. And I was very surprised. And then I understood why that is. So that's why if you're someone who feels like, oh my God, that was great in so many ways, but I don't think I can replicate that level of success, then this is for you, whether you do this within the UN again or whether this topic is for you. Hi everyone, if we haven't met, my name is Asela Ramonova. I'm a life coach for transitioning, and I help transition to or within the sector or to the private sector or to being their own bosses. Let's come back to the topic of how to replicate your UN career level success in the way that this just becomes the beginning of your career success if you choose to. And I want to also talk about why you might not be choosing it currently, which is also important. So whenever I talk to people, humanitarians, about this, they tell me that they had a great career. Now, because of the funding crisis, that career may be vanishing or no longer there, or humanitarians who have left the sector for some time and then now wanting to come back, but also feeling like, no, I don't think I can get to the same level of success that I used to have. And then when I ask them why that is, they often tell me because it was so hard to get to that level of it required them a lot of sacrifices, tolerating things they didn't want to tolerate, arduous suffering, a lot of suffering of toxic environments through duty stations. And it took them a long time, for some 5 years, 10 years or more, to get to where they were or where they are. And now they feel like they don't think they can replicate the same level of success that they once had. They also tell me that they thought of the UN or the humanitarian sector being the like life's mission, right? It was so personal. And because it was so personal, they also got so burnt out. And they identified with it so much that their identity became nothing but the system or nothing but the mission. And therefore now they feel like they don't think they can do that anymore. They don't think that they can go through this again, go through this suffering again, go through this identity crisis again, go through this burnout again, go through this hardship again. And therefore, the idea of them again going for another success, another this level of success, which will include the mission driven, the colleagues and the belonging, going to different exciting duty stations or exciting assignments, working in teams, solving problems that are unthinkable to solve, having the privileges, having the status, having the money, all of that combination, they believe that now they cannot replicate anymore when they're going to the next transition. And the reasons why they believe they can't do that is because of those suffering, because of those burnout, because of those identity crisis, because of that worthiness being so tied to the system, because of making everything so personal. And that's why they can't really do that anymore, or they can't really go through that anymore, right? And if that is you, here is what I would like for you to think about it is you, and also respect you and understand you for how you no longer want to do things this way, the way that you have done, right? You no longer want to achieve success that costs you so much emotionally, personally, maybe, not spending with your loved ones, time, that energy, and all of those relationships that you have foregone in order to do this. I hear you, and here is the other good news is that the next level of success that we'd like to achieve, whatever that looks like, we don't need to do it this way. And I think this is a great blessing and learning curve that we all went through as humanitarians of how not to achieve success anymore. I think there were amazing things that we have achieved, and I'm very grateful, and I'm sure many humanitarians will feel the same way. But also, I think we have learned what are the ways not to get to the success that costs us too much, that we are unwilling to do that again. We're unwilling to replicate that again. Not because we're not capable of replicating, but because we're afraid to go through the same turmoil that we went through for the last 10 years, 15 years, or maybe longer. So that's why if you're feeling like, okay, if success is like this and it costs, I'm not willing to do, I think that's an amazing conclusion. We should do things that way anymore. But it still doesn't mean that we cannot or shouldn't go for that success, whatever that looks like, with different approaches and different identities, and not the way that we have done before. So therefore, the question that I would like for you to answer for yourself is, if you were able to go through a different path, a different way of approaching and creating that success, would you be willing to do that? The different way that does not involve you identifying with the system so much that you feel like you don't know who you are anymore. The path that doesn't involve you tolerating things that you don't want to tolerate anymore. The path that does not make you sacrifice and compromise things that you no longer want to, compromise your health, compromise your relationships, compromise your time with your loved ones. If the path that does not include that anymore, would you be willing to go through that path? And I feel like when I tell this to people, people are like, I don't think that's possible. And I'm like, no, I can't believe that we're willing to go through and build the success only through an arduous, costly way. Why? Why are we willing to only go through very costly financially, emotionally, I mean, emotionally most of the time, health wise? Why are we willing to go through only that costly way? We just haven't learned to do it any other way. Excuse me. Right? We have just learned to go through things in the most difficult, in the most costly ways. And that's why I'm wanting to also to realize that when you say, oh, this level of success that I experienced with UN humanitarian career, I don't think I can achieve that level of success anymore. Therefore, let me just settle for whatever. else. I have coached clients and continue coaching clients who did that, who chose that path where they said, Asel, I'm no longer ambitious, or I'm no longer wanting anything other than being at home, doing 9 to 5 job, mundane life, and coming home to my loved ones, and that's it. And we have done that. We have transitioned to that path as well. And then them realizing quickly within 6 months tops, and then telling me again that, oh, that's not the life I think I can continue living. And I want to say that I hear you, because I don't think that's who we are, right? I don't think that we're this type of people who just, maybe not all of us, no? I totally hear you, but many of us, I think we're this type of people who just say, oh, whatever that mundane definition is, that does not involve mission driven or purpose driven. I don't think we're able to just go and do that job and come home and then be like, okay, that we're just having our loved ones and then we're functioning in the world. I don't think we're this type of people. For many of us, that's not the life that feels fulfilling, that feels expansive, that feels we're living our purpose. So that's why the only reason why you are currently feeling like, oh, I will just go for the most simple life, or whatever the definition of, I'm a mission driven, purpose driven life. I'm not going to go for that level of success because I was hurt, or because I was burnt out, because of this, because of that. Exactly. That's the reason you are not going for that life. But also, once you go through and process and heal and resolve them, then you will start asking the same questions as to, is that it? Is this how I imagined my life otherwise? And then you may have some other type of crisis that says, oh no, maybe that's not what I want to be doing. Maybe I actually miss my life, which was very purpose driven, belonging to a team, doing things together, in environments, exciting environments, or in challenging environments, but still it made sense to do it that way. That had certain status, that had certain privileges, that made us feel so useful and significant, that paid us the money. All of those things, a combination of those things, probably we want to have, whether we continue working for UN or the sector or elsewhere. Because we are, as humans, always wanting to be feeling fulfilled, wanting to be useful and significant, wanting to expand and grow, wanting to experience new challenges, new ways of contributing to the world, to the impact. That's who we are as humans, especially we as humanitarians. So therefore, I feel like if we are saying, oh, I'm not going for that life anymore, we're just reacting to our hurt feelings, reacting to our traumas, probably reacting to a lot of disappointment and a lot of emotions that we haven't processed through. And therefore, we're just saying, okay, I just need a tranquil life, whatever the version of that is for you. But I would like for you to make a decision about whether you would like to go for another level of success in making your UN or humanitarian career as only the beginning of your journey, and there are a lot more to come. I would like for you to make that decision after having resolved or having processed a lot of those emotions that are constraining you currently to just giving up on a lot of things that are still important to you. Because I feel like that's the only fair way to and to who you are, and not to let all of this disappointment and anger and a lot of other issues that you may have experienced through this funding crisis define what you can and cannot do, or what you should and should, right? And especially that I don't think it's fair for us to people we hate, right? Whoever we don't like or whoever we feel like we've been wronged by, I don't think we should be suffering from them because their behavior exactly the thing that we are not approving. So therefore, the justice we can do to ourselves, at least in that moment, is to go for the thing that we want to, no matter whether they have wronged us or not. Right? So therefore, my advocacy here is for you to recognize that all the difficult ways, the costly ways you have built success and you have tasted and experienced to success. And if you feel success that is available to you or that you would like to do it, you can and again as many times as you would like to, if you don't allow all of those emotions and all of those burnout and disappointment, all of those not get in the way. That is possible to do as well. And another point that I want to advocate for is that I think it's a good thing that we don't want to create another level of success the same way that we did before, because we're supposed to learn from every hardship, every costly experience, every turmoil. We're supposed to learn from them, right? So the more we learn from them, the more we realize how not to build success anymore. And instead, I heard about my blog posts like years ago. This was now probably 4 years ago, where I talked about hollow success and fulfilling success. And hollow success, I felt like success is somehow great on paper, and we're dying, the feeling where everyone's life must be that you're traveling, that you are helping all these people and saving the world, and then having all these privileges and going to resort for R&R, this type of thing where you feel like life is great on paper, but inside you coming home every day and feeling like you just want to die inside or cry out throughout the night, and then going to work tomorrow and wiping all of the like bags under your eyes, questioning about whether you're really doing the right thing or whether this is how you should be contributing, or whether you are contributing at all, whether you're making the difference. I feel like that type of success we no longer want, right? So that I would call it a hollow success, which feels like great on the outside and hollow on the inside, right? But the success that we're probably still looking for, that we experience again, is the success where we feel actually genuinely doing things that we believe needs to be done in this world. And we know what those things are. We also want to contribute to that impact in the meaningful way from all of the skills that we have. We also want to keep growing as humans, as professionals. We want to belong to amazing teams and be part of those teams to make the change. We also want to be making good money and also having creating privileges through that, feeling that significance, feeling that contribution, feeling that purpose. We want that level of success, and probably over and over again until we are dying. Like deep desire that we're not letting the air to, right? We're not letting. That's now the discussion that I would like for you to look at. Okay, all of that deep desires that makes you feel like, oh, I want that level of this level, or I want this type of success, and I want to do it in a different way, in a way that I no longer tie my worthiness to it. I no longer tie my identity to it. I no longer tie my whole emotional stakes to it. I want to do it in different new ways. Then we should absolutely go for it. In nature to keep doing that. And if that is you, I would love to invite you to do this work with me where we build success that is better than the one that we experienced before in a new way. That's the way that it did, in a way that doesn't make us compromise that we did, in a way that we no longer do through tolerating toxic environments. And go for it and create more examples of it, the more people will be believing, or at least allowing themselves to feel what if that's possible, right? And go for it as well. So, my dears, if you feel like your UN career was only the beginning and now you can get to the next level of success, whatever your definition of that is, then I think it's time for you to come coach with me if you choose to. Have a beautiful week, everyone.